All right, let's just dive right in. Today, we're going to try and tackle one of the most monumental, and let's be honest, one of the most misunderstood texts in all of human history, the Talmud. I mean, this thing is a vast ocean of thought, a debate that spanned generations, all captured on paper, and our goal today? To make a little sense of it all, together.
So, the first and most obvious question has to be, why? I mean, why would anyone voluntarily decide to dive into 63 volumes of dense, ancient arguments about law and life, all written in a mix of Hebrew and Aramaic? It's a project that can literally take a lifetime. So, what's the deal? What's the motivation here?
Well, for a lot of people, the answer is pretty simple. It's the ultimate intellectual workout. Seriously, think of it like a gym for your brain. The Talmud isn't about finding easy answers. Nope. It's all about learning how to ask better questions, how to see an idea from every single angle imaginable. It stretches your mind in ways that very few other things can.
But it's not just some mental exercise. Not at all. For millions, studying the Talmud is a really profound spiritual practice. It's something much closer to prayer or meditation. It's a way to connect not just with these brilliant minds from centuries ago, but, for many, with the divine itself.
And then there's this, which might be the deepest motivation of all. It's about identity. The Talmud basically contains the cultural DNA of Jewish thought, law, and storytelling. So to study it is to really understand the very fabric of an entire civilization, its religion, its history, its culture, all woven into one.
So to really get how this incredible text was even born, we have to go back in time. We have to travel back to this pivotal moment in history when the entire center of the Jewish world was shifting, moving from west to east.
In the 3rd century, you've basically got a tale of two communities. On one hand, you have Jewish life back in Judea under Roman rule, and it was falling apart. They were facing economic ruin, persecution, and they'd lost their central religious authority, the Sanhedrin. But at the exact same time, over in the east, the Jewish community in Babylonia was absolutely thriving under Persian rule. They had autonomy, they had prosperity, and their academies were booming.
And this move wasn't just about people packing up and leaving. It was a migration of intellect, of leadership. The entire center of gravity for Jewish life and scholarship shifts east, away from the Roman Empire and into Babylonia, which is basically modern-day Iraq. This became the new heartland, the place where the future of Jewish thought was going to be forged. So think about it. The Jewish people are scattered, their old center is in ruins. They needed a new anchor, something to hold on to. And in these incredible academies in Babylonia, they created one. They started this massive project to write down their huge oral tradition, creating a text so strong, so comprehensive, that it would hold the nation together for the next 2,000 years.
Now, this wasn't the work of just one person. No way. This was a massive collaborative effort that spanned centuries. So let's meet some of the brilliant scholars who got this great conversation started.
They were called the Amoraim. The name itself, from Aramaic, is pretty cool. It means the speakers or the explainers, and that's exactly what they did. Their whole job was to take an earlier, more concise code of Jewish law called the Mishnah and just explain it, analyze it, and debate every single word of it. Their discussions, that's the heart and soul of the Talmud. And right at the beginning of this whole era, you have two giants, Rav and Shmuel. Rav came back to Babylonia and founded the legendary Academy of Sura. He was the expert in ritual law, all the thou shalt nots. His counterpart, Shmuel, was the head of the Neherdia Academy, and he was the master of civil law, contracts, damages, business disputes. This amazing combo of expertise is what gave the Talmud its incredibly broad scope. And for the next 300 years, this is what they did in the academies of Babylonia. Generation after generation of scholars followed in their footsteps, debating literally everything, from farming laws to philosophy, from ethics to folklore. It was this all-encompassing, non-stop intellectual project.
Okay, so we know who wrote it and why they wrote it. But what is it? What does the Talmud actually look like when you sit down with it?
So let's ask that directly. When you open up a volume of the Talmud, what do you even see? I can tell you right now, it is not like any other book you have ever opened in your life.
And here it is. At first glance, it just looks chaotic, right? But there's a brilliant logic to it. See, you don't really read a page of the Talmud from top to bottom. Instead, you enter a conversation that's been frozen in time. The layout itself is a visual map of the entire debate.
Okay, let's break this down. Right in the center, that block of text, that's the Mishnah. That's the original short statement of law from way back around 200 CE. Now, wrapped all around it is the Gemara, and that's the huge, sprawling record of the Amoraim's debates analyzing that little piece of Mishnah. And then in the margins, you have even later commentaries from scholars like the famous Rashi, who are clarifying what the Gemara is even arguing about. It's just layers upon layers of conversation.
So really, it all boils down to a pretty simple equation. You take the Mishnah, that's the core law. You add the Gemara, that's all the analysis. And together, they form the Talmud. That's the fundamental structure of this entire library of thought. Simple as that.
All right, let's circle all the way back to our original question. We know why individuals might study the Talmud today, but why was this massive text so important for the survival of an entire people for thousands of years?
The answer is beautiful, really. For a people who had lost their land, their geographic center, the Talmud became something incredible, a portable homeland. It was their constitution, their cultural library, and a national meeting place, all contained within a set of books that they could carry with them anywhere in the world.
And this had immense practical power. It meant that no matter where Jews lived, whether it was Persia or Spain or Poland, they all shared the same basic system of law and ethics. The Talmud gave them this unified framework that connected all these scattered communities, letting them function as a single cohesive nation, even in exile.
But maybe its greatest legacy isn't even the answers it contains, but the method it teaches. The Talmud preserved and championed this very specific way of thinking, this commitment to rigorous debate, a relentless pursuit of clarity, and this core belief that truth is best found by looking at a problem from every single possible perspective. It's a methodology for how to think.
So in the end, the Talmud is so much more than a book. It's a 1,500-year-long conversation that, believe it or not, is still going on. And maybe its greatest lesson isn't a specific set of answers, but a way of thinking. Which kind of leaves us with a question to chew on, right? What other great conversations from our past, captured in old texts or traditions, are still quietly shaping the way we all think and argue and live our lives today?